Parshas Tzav Lukovet Purim. We have in Shoshanas Yaakov the famous Purim song. Shoshanas Yaakov, a big part of the Nigun Shoshanas Yaakov, the Pia talks about Bitachon, and it's very interesting. We were very excited of the Yeshua that happened to Yiddish Kinder with Mordechai, with Esther, and then we say Tishuosam Yisod Netzach. Their Yeshua was for always. V'sikvosam, the tikva, the hope, b'chol dor v'dor. For generations to come, this built up our hope to trust and rely on Hashem. And the continuation is even more interesting. Lohidia, this is to let know for the future. This story testifies for the future that people should know. Shekol koivecha lo yevoishu. Whoever is going to put their hope on Hashem will never get embarrassed or devastated, disappointed. It comes from that source. Kol koivecha kivui. Kivui means when you put your hopes high. If you put your hopes on Hashem, lo yevoishu. And the story of Purim is going to teach all the people in generations to come that if you hope and trust on Hashem, you won't be let down. Which is different words repeating the same concept, that klima is another word of embarrassment. They will never ever get embarrassed, the people which trusted, once again, people that trusted in Hashem, relied on Hashem. So it's very interesting. The Meforshim, some Acharonim try to understand why is this a significant part in the piyut of Shoshanas Yaakov. We thank Hashem for the nisim, that's beautiful. But it's like we stop the song and we say, this story is going to teach all the people for generations to come. You should know, if you trust in Hashem, He'll never let you down. Where does it say that? That's the touch. Yeah. So an unbelievable piece of the Brisker Rov. To explain that, the Griz in stencil. He says, because the Rambam and the Hagdoma to the Minyan HaMitzvah Sakotzer, when the Rambam puts a introduction to the numbers of all the mitzvahs, the Minyan HaMitzvahs, the Rambam says, one of the mitzvahs, the Rabbanon, he counts mitzvahs Esed D'Oraisa, and he counts the Rabbanons. When he counts the Rabbanons, the Rambam says, Tzivu Likros HaMegillah Bo'inosa, the Chachamim gave us a mitzvah that we have to read the Megillah in the time of Purim, Bo'inosa, in the right time. Kedei lahazkir shvochav shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That means we want to
remember, or express the praise of HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Remember and express the praise of Hashem. U'tshua Yisrael, all the Yeshuas that He did for us. V'hoya korov l'shavasenu. He was close to us to listen to our tefillas, to what we were screaming to Him. Kedei levorach halaloi. That means we're trying to bring. Why are we reading the whole story of the Megillah? What are we trying to say? We're trying to say the story in order to express the praise of Hashem that we davened. Hashem listened to us, and that brought us to be able to thank. That caused that we could thank Him. Ukedei lo idia ledoros haboim. It's a lashon Rambam. The Rambam says, and we're again reading the Megillah in order to let know all the doiros, the generations to come, that it's true what the Torah promised us. Umi goy godol shelo yolikim kroivim heilaf. The pasuk says that we should know Yidden are unbelievably close to Hashem. That what? That whenever they daven, Hashem listens and He helps them. He takes them out of their tzara. So here we have a live testimony. That means in the back of the Chumash, we have live testimonials that it happened. I tried it. I've been there, done that. It worked. Yeah, yiftachti. Yeah, v'nashati. That's what the Rambam says. L'idea, it's true. The promise works. It actually works. So the Brisker Rov says, wow, that's the Shoshanas Yaakov. We say, Hashem took us out of this tzor, and then we say right after the Megillah, we say Shoshanas Yaakov. It's so beautiful. We say it's true. It worked. L'idea, the pasuk in the Torah that it says that when Yidden daven, Hashem will help them and save them, and then they're going to be able to praise Hashem. It happened. So that's Stam giving pshat in what we do and what we say in Shoshanas Yaakov. Now, it also gives us an explanation to the story. That means we need a grip. There's so many parts to the story, details. Ups and downs. We know the main part is the Baruch Hashem, there was a good ending. And Yidden would say, we know that. But even when you have a drama story, that means it starts off that it looks like it's going to be the end of everything, and Baruch Hashem, everything flipped over, and Yidden had such a Yeshua, we still need to know the grip. So what's the point there? What's the moral of the story? That's the Nakuda. What's the moral of the story? The answer is, the Shoshanas Yaakov helps us to pinpoint the moral of the story. That when Yidden daven, when Yidden do tshuva, it's all because they trust in Him and they rely on Hashem, and they say, where are we running when we're in a Eis Tzara? What are we doing? People, a lot of times when they're in a pressing situation, when things go sour, so they ask a question, am I allowed to do this for Ishtadlus? Maybe I shouldn't do this for Ishtadlus. All kinds of questions and all kinds of situations. Well, the main point that a person is supposed to chap when they're in a Tzara is, who are they running to? Where are you running? David HaMelech uses this language, these terms, menusi. That means that's where I run to when I'm in a Eis Tzara. I run into this situation because I know Hashem will save me. Hashem did it, and I have to strengthen my shaykhis and my relying on Hashem. So that's the point of the story. Kol koivecha lo yevoishu, kol achoisim boch. When they did tshuva, when they davened, whatever Mordechai Tzaddik did, whatever Esther, Malka, everything that they did was built because they knew that it's not Haman, it's not Achashverosh, it's not the details. It's about, I guess we need to do tshuva and run back to Hashem. You have sometimes people that, back a few months ago, whatever, a person was telling me a whole story that he had a competition, and competition saw how successful he was in business, so he went and he mastered, I don't know how to say that. He informed the government. He went to tell them that this guy, his writings are not exactly the way he says, the products that he sells is not the way he says it, and he's in a massive mess, huge mess. They already went to trial and they said he's guilty. They want $100 million from him. These numbers, $100 or $200 million. This is what we're talking about. And the person was asking, so what's the right thing to do? Should I do this? Should I do that? And if we look in the Megillah it says, stop for a second and know that it wasn't your competition. That's the story. It wasn't your competition. It has nothing to do with the government. You need to run to Hashem. Then we'll decide what to do. But as long as you're not going to just change the phase, then what happens is that whatever you'll do, you're running further. I mean, you're running away. Once a person says, Hashem, I know, it has nothing to do with anybody else. It has to do with me, and let me redo myself. I mean, I have to, the whole inside, I have to do renovations inside to change my whole outlook of things. And it's not about taking a Kabbalah. It's about, I guess Hashem wants to put me in my place, and I trust Him, and I'm happy that Hashem is putting me in my place, and it's good to me, it's going to change me for eternity, for always. Then anything could happen. Anything can happen. But again, we're trying to stay focused. The Megillah is telling us the story, what they did, and that's really what helped them. I'll say it in with a different example. People do sometimes 15 sgulas, and when they have a Yeshua, and people interview them when they're 65 and they had their first child, or whatever it is, a 38-year-old that got engaged, or whatever it is, and they interview, they say, what do you do? I'll tell you the truth, I don't know, because I did so many things. This tzaddik and that tzaddik, and this tehillim, and that's gula, and hafroshas chala. It's hard for me to pinpoint what it was. This is what the Shoshanas Yaakov is telling us. You want to know the underline of all the above? This is what helps. When a person connects, he connects, not like he does tricks, even if it's ruchnistic tricks, even if it's true, even if it's things that have some power. It's about This is what happened. Lo yidiyah, it's the posik, kroi v'meilov, lo yidiyah shekol kavecha lo yevoish. Now,
the big problems already.
Yeah.
Just again, looking back over history from them, we saw great tzaddikim, Bali Bitachon, even cried out and did, and the ending wasn't like Purim.
Right. This is what we want to get to Betzim in the Shir, and it's very important. It's very, very important to be able to have the right answer for children / older children / adults, whatever, that ask this question. We all know that there is an answer for that question. I'll repeat the question. The question is, I davened, I cried my heart out, I really believed, I was sure, and I didn't see that anything happened. Now, we all feel bad for such a person. It's because the pain of the tzorah is one part of it. But then there's a pain of feeling abandoned, a pain of, I put my trust onto something and I was a fool. And sometimes it's a stronger pain. It's everybody turns their back, including ... It's very, very tough. When a person's in such a spot, only then they could really, it could go through their mind sometimes. I don't know what's more painful. And it hurts them again and again when people repeat all these chizik words. It's pouring salt on the wounds. Now we all have the answer, not always it's on our lips, the answer. So it looks like this shir has to address a little bit of this question, but let's slowly build it up. There's an interesting grow regarding the story of Megillas Esther and this loidiyah shekol kovecho. I found it fascinating. He says that by the story of the Megillah, the Megillas Esther, it says like this: Haman wanted everybody should bow. What do you say? Now, it says that Haman couldn't get over the Mordcha lo yichrav lo yishtachve. He didn't want. And then it says that everybody wanted to see what's going to happen. What's the lashon haposik there? Hayamdu divrei Mordcha. Liros. They were watching. They were observing the situation. He was saying, "I have Hashem. I don't care about anything. Haman is saying he's going to kill me. Allah, let him say whatever he wants. It's fine. I'm relying on Hashem. He could say whatever he wants." And then there was a bunch of observers. He told them, "I'm a Jew. I'll explain to you. I don't have any shaykhs with whatever's happening here. I'm fine. I don't know about you, but I'm fine." They wanted to see. Now, after everything, in the end of the Megillah, there's a pasuk that it says, a bunch of the goyim there, they joined Yiddishkeit. They became because they were scared. So simply, we learned the pasuk that it was very scary. So they ran to the other side. Nobody wants to be on the loser side. So they came to be because they were scared for their life. The Gra says that when it says Rabim Meyamei Oretz, Rabim doesn't mean stam plural. Rabim means sorim. It means ministers, people that are a higher level choshev people. So he says this is the second half of the pasuk Liris Hayamdu Divrei Mordcha. That means they saw that, wow, it actually worked. I can't believe it. We were out there looking what's going to be the end of the story. This is the end of the story. So what happened was that they joined. They didn't join only because of the pachad, an external pachad. They joined because they have been watching all along to see if this is true or not. Now they saw that what Mordechai Tzaddik was saying all along, that was the truth. So they're in. So they came and misyadim. So the girl says that now we have it even deeper. The loidiyah shekol kovecha. That means people who were out there wanting to see. You're going with your bitachon, you're going with your emunah. I want to see what's going to be the end of the story. And this was the end of the story. So now it's even more powerful. It's not only that Yidden were in Eisora and they trusted in Hashem, and Hashem saved them. It's much more than that. It's Yidden. It's the Goyim. It's the Umay Sa'olam. It's everybody around was watching the game. all the bleachers. They were watching the game, and they were like, wow, this is true. They wanted to see a loidia. That's the loidia to those people. People were back a few years ago when Rav Shalom Mordechai Rubashkin was in jail, and he was telling all the people, I'm going to be out of this jail. I have Bitachon, Hashem is going to take me out of here, you heard? And they were all feeling bad and observing. And he was saying it with 100% vados that he's going to leave. He's certain. And then there was a very stark idea, because it was two parts. There was so many people watching and saying, I wonder what's actually going to happen with this guy's Bitachon. A very, very big Kiddush Hashem when a person says, I'm not trusting because I decided. I'm not trusting because I'm saying because I'm learning Chovos Halevavos to tell you what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. I'm learning Chovos Halevavos. I trust what it says. It says in the Torah. I believe what it says in the Torah. He's not scared to say it before. People don't want to predict because they don't want to be the fool afterwards. So people don't want to predict. Here, Mordechai Tzaddik says, listen, I can't tell you the exact details what the Yeshua is going to be, but I can tell you I have nothing to be scared. To be scared is nothing to be scared at all. When a person is that certain, then you have then there's lo yevoishu. If not, there's embarrassment. When a person is 100% sure, then they don't get embarrassed. Of course, we need to get back to that question, but there's something very powerful if we start looking into the sources about this text, specific text that we have here in the Shoshanas Yaakov. Let's go back and see where else we find this sprach talking like this. Musaf Rosh Hashanah in the Chiroinis. When we're standing Rosh Hashanah, we say Ashrei ish lo yishkocheka. Ashrei, it's a hard word to teach. Fortunate. It means the person is going to be so excited and will have a good life. The person that doesn't forget and the person that holds on tight. Ben Odom is amitzvoch. The person that holds on to Hashem. Kidor shecha, because the people that will always they seek Hashem. They're not going to fall, not going to trip on anything. Here we have Shoshanas Yaakov in the Musaf Rosh Hashanah, the exact text. Because the people that will always hold on tight and be sure and won't be, they'll seek Hashem, that's what's going to happen to them. That's what we say. When we try to, Rosh Hashanah, we speak about the essence of Yiddishkeit. We speak about our connection with Hashem in such a deep, true way. We say, Ashrei is fortunate is the person which will never leave go of Hashem no matter what, because Hashem will never leave go. He'll be good. And we have it in a Havarabah. Every day before Kriyas Shema, there's a beautiful bracha that we ask for Hatzlocha in Torah. We ask for Hatzlocha. Rachem aleinu seim lebeinu bina. We say V'yachal levein lahav yashmecha, and then we finish off. We shouldn't get embarrassed. It's if you look, it's the same idea, it's the exact same concept. That means we shouldn't be let down and embarrassed and disappointed because we held on. And again we see that that's what Yiddishkeit, that's what connection with Hashem is all about. Now, here is the concept. The concept works like this. If the person actually puts their whole weight on Hashem, then in return, Hashem says, I will not be able to let go. Why? Because that's what you did. This is the idea behind this, all these psukim. To understand what I just said, it's that, it's Hashach Hashem Yehovcha, but not always people understand that we want to get to a certain deep nakuda in that. We'll quote a Medrash Tehillim, which the Medrash in Tehillim says a story. He says, there was once a story with the Shomrei HaMedina, the guards of one of the countries, of a city or what, and they found a shleper, they found someone in the streets, and they said maybe he's doing something wrong or whatever, and they wanted to put him into jail. So he said, please don't do anything to me. I'm a ben bias from the Melech. I'm one of the close people of the king. You can't just put me in jail. I'm very close. He said, okay. So they came to the king and they said, okay, this guy says he's one of your close friends. He looks at him. He says, all right, that's nice to meet you. He says, do you know my son's name? He's like testing him. He says, they ask people your date of birth to try to verify if you actually that identity. Do you know my son's name? He says, no, I have no idea. So he says, if you know nothing about me, so why are you saying you're close to me? So he says, I'll tell you. When they were trying to put me into trouble, I figured who could save me? I figured you're the only one that could save me. I'm close to you because I figured you're the only one that could save me. It's a medrash to him. Because if I wouldn't have said that, they would have makemoisi. They would have gave me patch. They'd have beat me up. So the Melech said, Hoyelu botach bi hanichulai. That let go of him because he trusted in me. So the Medrash, that's what David HaMelech says. Elakai b'cho b'tachti, and because of that, al yalsu oivai bi. He says, nobody should be able to do anything to me. I don't have anything, but I'm trusting in you. I'm just running to you that you should save me, and that on its own, that itself should be something that you should save me. And then the Medrash says, and not only me, gam kol koivecha lo yevoishu. Once again, gam kol koivecha lo yevoishu aboigdim reikam. The people that should be abandoned, that should be the ones that are boigdim. The boigdim is people that traitors. That means the exact opposite of that. People that are not loyal. They're faking it. Now, this concept, I once heard this mashal. I think we once said it here by the shir, that if you would watch a elderly man, we said it, trying to cross the street, and he's asking a little boy, if you could help me, if I could just lean on you to cross the street, and the little boy goes, and he helps him, and when he's mid-crisis, right in the middle of the highway, the boy leaves, gotta go, he says, bye, I gotta go, my friend's calling me, and you're watching the situation. And in the middle of the highway, anybody that would be around there would put up such a face and tell you, what are you doing? You're not normal. Why? I gotta go. I did a toiva 50%. Say thank you. Now, what's the nakuda behind it? If that person is actually leaning on you, then how could you let go? How could you do that? Everybody understands that. It means when you watch it, you see it. It means it's such a strong svara. It's stronger than a doiraisa, like the Gemara says. Something that's a real svara is normally cross svara. What? Yidden, elder people, younger people, go ask anybody to watch such a scene and tell you what they feel. It's instinct because that's what it is. It's a strong svara. So the Medrash is actually bringing out this concept. The Medrash is saying, if someone is be'emes, he ran to you, that you should save him. So you have to save him. You can't just let go. You can't just throw him away. You can't do that. So, Yidden, throughout, when they daven, or when, in any situation that a Yid is, that's what the Yid feels. The Yid feels, listen, this oilam, there's nothing there. So I have nowhere to run. So if the person is actually going to understand it, the comprehension is going to reach 100%, or even close to 100%, then that causes Hashem to protect the person and to help the person and to bring the person. That's the koyach that makes it happen, that a person is actually bringing the Yeshua to him when a person is in such a matzav. But as long as a person is telling Hashem, I think I'm fine, in case I need you, I'm going to try not to wake you up in the middle of the night. I'm going to try to give Zechan Eitzah, I really don't want to bother you. As long as a person feels like that, then there doesn't how do you say, it doesn't ignite, it doesn't turn on that special koyach. It doesn't turn it on. Only person is lost. And in order a person should feel like that, and this is a very important factor in this year, there's absolutely no reason in the world to reach rock bottom. The only reason why Hashem puts people in a situation of reaching rock bottom is because Hashem is trying to push that hergish out of them. It's very important to have that. And it's hard to reach that hargosha, that feeling with Baruch Hashem, a person gives an eitzah in life. But it's a Yesod in Yiddishkeit to feel like that. Every single person, and not only in certain matzov, not tzoros. No, the most in their shtaying in Avodas Hashem. That's what's most important. All the rest is important, but it's not as important. But most people feel that Baruch Hashem, they're fine. They have a plan to really do better. They would want to even go to the next level in Ruchnias. But the Baruch Hashem, it's not like messed up. I'm not, Baruch Hashem, I know how to learn. I daven, I do mitzvahs, I try to be ehrlich. And it's a very, very big mistake. It's a huge mistake because they're not opening up a tzinor of not shaykh, of madrigas that they would be able to reach if they would feel lost. And how does a person reach that level of being able to feel like that? The more a person becomes aware of the truth. That means, it's a very interesting thing, but people push away the truth because they have to feel comfortable. It's maybe a bit sharp, but it's the truth. That means all the Mamoreh Chazal, if it's about Bittul Torah or anything above, it's not geschmack to talk about it, especially now in a Purim Sheh. But I'm just bringing out the concept because it could help us. There's so many problems that we have in Ruchnias, issues that we have. They're very big issues. They're huge. They're huge, huge issues. But how do we cope? Like, how do we get up in the morning and go back to learn to daven to Shabbos if we have all these issues? So a person has a coping mechanism. The coping mechanism that a person usually uses is, or don't think about it, or let's decide that it's not a problem. Okay? This is my kehila here. I'm my kehila. My shita is, it's just fine. That's what we do, because what's the other option? I'm a disaster? Like, what's my other option? It's not an option, because then I'll be devastated and sad and bad. I'm good. I'm fine. I'm great, actually. And that's how people live their lives. And that, it's a shot, it's a big shot. It's not only a problem that they're not reaching, they're not doing things good. It's touching a core, because what's happening is, if they're very scared to meet the truth. Every one of us. We're petrified to meet the truth. But if we would meet the truth, we would feel like, if that's the case, then, I don't know, maybe close shop. Hey, right then and there, you're supposed to take a right, not a left. That means right there, when a person feels rock bottom, oh, beautiful, wow. That's what Hashem was waiting for. Now, trust in Hashem. Right now, this second, when you feel like that, instead of because of that getting depressed, that's exactly the time where a person is supposed to say, Ilmoleh HaKadosh Baruch Hu Oizrei, if Hashem is not going to help me, yes, it's going to be a disaster. But I'm davening that Hashem should help me. And I don't know how He's going to help me, but Hashem can help me. And I'm going to do it again and again every single day, even if I'm doing this for weeks and for months and for years. Because in the end, Hashem is going to help me. That's when a person feels that feeling of rock bottom. And a person feels that feeling of rock bottom, then they can actually trust and rely and run to Hashem and say, because if you're not going to help me, then it's really bad. And in the same time, I really, really believe Hashem can do anything and Hashem can help me. I believe that. And that's what this is talking about. About when a person really runs to Hashem, something new opens up. Something, Hashem helps him, mi'ala derech hateva. And Hashem wants us to learn like that, to daven like that, to do mitzvahs like that, to figure out social issues that a person has with family and friends, which it's messed up, and they feel like this is it. very problematic people around them. True. In Olam HaTeva, it's true. If you're going to go to a therapist, they will give you a signed paper that person is crazy, wrong, with all the OCS, with all the ABCs, what condition, what situation that person has, and it's going to be true. But there's a little secret there. The little secret is that there is a mahalach that's mi'ala derech HaTeva, it only opens up for a person that relies on Hashem. And it works. But a person has to feel, I know that it's impossible. But I know that Hashem could make something that I can't think of. People have it with kibbud of aim. Sure. People have it with kibbud of aim. They feel it's impossible, which they do. They have a parent that's, it's not shaykh. It's just not possible. How much sometimes they further, no?
They demand.
Yeah, demanding. But sometimes it's not stam demanding. It's not normal. It's not possible. It's true. Sometimes people have that inside. It's true. But there's something that could happen that will give you some hidden strength. And that's what Hashem wants from the person in anything. In any mitzvah. And being mechanech children, in any mitzvah, to get lost and to anyways rely on Hashem. And now back to your question. Now let's reach the part of the shir that most people feel is like, let's talk tachlis. What's with the people that they feel they relied and they davened and they did everything and nothing happened?
And even not the person himself. The person himself might say, okay, so I was fooling myself. I'm not such a big Bitachon. Mm-hmm. But when you see tzaddikim, there's no shar Bitachon back and forth.
So here's the story. There's a lot of answers to this question. People say they daven, they had Bitachon, and they don't see they had Yeshua. There's a lot of answers to it. But let's focus on one answer that's simple to say over. That means it's not so deep. It's easier to convey to others and to ourselves. It's not, I'm saying there's definitely, by the shiurim itself, we discussed it a bunch, but let's focus on one point. In Yiddish there's a saying, Anar Weissmännisch kann halbe Arbeit. I don't think it goes in English. This slang, this memra, you can't. It means a person's watching something getting built, something being built or something, and he's seeing it that it's a big mess. And he says, "I told you that I want to make renovations. All you're doing is ripping down the walls and taking off the floor. What are you doing?" He says, "Wait, wait. In order to put beautiful tiles that you chose with me yesterday in the store, I got to take off the old ones."
A fool doesn't understand the work in progress.
That's what they say.
That
would be the touch. A fool doesn't understand the work in progress. He can't understand it. He says, I don't know what you're telling me. The fact is that you just messed everything up. And the same is with anything that's happening in the Bria, that we need to, in order to plant, you need to dig in, and there's a mess. All the time, when you build up a big building, you gotta dig deep foundations. And the person is saying, I guess you didn't understand me. It was supposed to go upwards, the building. How the window's going to look out if you're putting it down? That's what the person is asking. Now, it's funny when it's an example, when it's in a person's life. He says, Hashem, I asked that I should have a Yeshua. Maybe you didn't get it. I was asked Yeshua, it's getting worse. It's really getting bad. But if a person trusts brings that a person should understand that wait. It's so important to understand that. When I know that my chavrusa comes every day punctual for 8 years, for 12 years, as long as I can remember, there is nothing doing. This person married off children while we're sitting and learning in the past couple of years. This person had children in the hospital. This person had Erev Yontif. What are you talking about? 9 o'clock was 9 o'clock. This is him. He has maybe different issues in life, maybe, but not this. Now, one nice day, I'm sitting and waiting, and it's 9:07. And someone walks in, and he says, oh wow, your chavrusa is late. I know, I also have a chavrusa. This is the story with all these chavrusas. They never make it on time. And I look at the guy and I says, listen, tell you the truth. He doesn't have a cell phone, my chavrusa. You tell that guy, I can't call him. He doesn't have a cell phone. Because maybe that's why he's punctual always. But anyways, he says, I don't know where he is. I don't know why he's late. But all I can tell you, he's not late because of the same reason your chavrusa is late. That's for sure. And the person says, I don't know what, but I don't even care. Because if he could be here on time, the day after he makes a chasana for his own child, if he could be the next day Motzei Purim, he's here at 9 a.m. If he was here when he was all night up in the hospital, he didn't even tell me. It's not like these guys are huffing and puffing and saying, wow, I'm like God's gift to humanity because I came 9 o'clock. No, he didn't even tell me. The next day I found that he was in the hospital and he's like, he's here. I don't need to know. I know 100%. He's not letting me I'm not sitting here like a fool. Imagine the guy that's saying, the marshal says, yeah, these chavruses, they always make you sit there like a fool 15 minutes beforehand. I'm not sitting here like a fool, that's for sure. Because it's poshut. Because that person has a full trust. He has full trust. I know, not from now. A full trust. We lose trust mid-crisis. Because it's a poshtazach. It's so poshut. Ingeman told me a story that happened just a few days ago. He just told me the story. He says, this Friday, it was raining. Whoever remembers, Friday, Shabbos, Sunday, it was rainy weather in Eretz Yisrael. He says, he lives in Bnei Brak, and he needed to go to Yerushalayim for Shabbos. Now, they were debating. He has Kanai Nahara, a family of little children, a bunch of little children. Should they take the bus, or should they take a van? Should they just do it the easy way? They don't have the money. They said they're taking the bus. Taking the Bnei Brak Yerushalayim Kav on Friday afternoon is not the most pleasant experience, for the least to say. Now, he goes to the last stop, always. That's where he lives. The last stop before it leaves the city. Which means they need to have Nisim and Hashamayim, that you should get a seat and not stand the whole way. Afal Goyim, Akaponim. This guy says the story, he says, but it's important to learn this, the first part of the story also. People that are very comfortable never meet God, they're like, I'm fine, I have a problem, 200, I'll pay $100, what does it cost? Just swipe the card. He doesn't, so he's walking with his wife in the streets of Bnei Brak, and he tells all his children, let's all daven to Hashem, we should have places on the bus. That's how a Yid is supposed to live their life, on the simple things. And he davens with all his children. They get to the last stop. The door opens up. Half a bus is empty for them. Last stop. Friday afternoon, this Friday. You could write up the story. The Ness. This is the story. But this is totally not the point that we want to bring out. He's sitting and he says, wow, he's thanking with Hashem. He's singing with his children. It's amazing. Hashem saved us, helped us. He gets to Yerushalayim. Now, he needed to get to a different area in Yerushalayim. But the bus driver made a wrong turn. The bus driver got onto Bar Ilan. Now, whoever knows what's going on in Bar Ilan these days, they're trying to do the train system, Rakevet Akala. They have the light rail. It's messy and muddy. What's going on there? It's not simple to live there these days, these years, until they finish it. I know what's going to happen afterwards. But it's one mess. Now, the driver made a mistake. And he didn't take the turn that he was supposed to early on, so he ended up getting onto Bar Ilan. So he tells this family and children, it's pouring rain. He tells them, okay, I'm done. I'm not going back, and this is where I am. Get off. If not, I'm going into the Tachana Merkazit. I'm just going. This is it. You last guys. You want to get off here or not? He's mad. He's all upset. And he doesn't know what to do, and 2 kids are sleeping, and it's a big mess. And he got very, very upset, and what is he going to do? I don't know, okay? He gets off the bus, all full of whatever, and with all his children, he stands there, and it's pouring rain in the mud, Friday afternoon, and he's like, okay, that's the ending of the story. But it's not the ending. The bus goes away, no zeicher of the bus and everything, looks around, he left his triangle on the bus. Friday afternoon, and no one, now go look for it, it's in Shtovah. He tells me, I'll tell you the honest truth, I'm embarrassed, but I said out of my mouth, yeah, Hashem saved us, that he had place on the bus, Baruch Hashem. I was so lost and disappointed and hurt. That's the end of the story. Now, son, I thought Hashem was saving me and helping me. Now listen, he says the whole Friday afternoon, he was asking people if they have a second shtreimel for him. He needs for Shabbos. One guy doesn't, the second guy, third guy. He asked all this context. No. He gave it away. There was a shtreimel macher, someone that he has like a gemach, extra ones. No, everything is taken. When he's lost and he is already whatever, he reminded himself that he has a uncle. That this uncle is, Baruch Hashem, well off. He has money and everything. He reminds himself, this guy has, I don't know where he lives, he has Shtreimlach. He calls him up, he says, I'm stuck, I'm embarrassed. You have for this Shabbos something? He says, yeah, no problem, come over. He says, where's the Shtreimlach? He says, go in there, that room, there's 6 pieces there. 6 Shtreimlachs extra. Take the one that suits you the best. Put it on. Expensive. He says $6,000 a piece. Gorgeous Shtreimlach. Yeah. He tries them on one of them. It was really good. He said, thanks a million, Gavaldi. He calls him back after Shabbos. He says, you saved my Shabbos. He says, what? He says, it was good. He said, yeah, it wasn't a weird. No, he says, it was gorgeous. It fits me. He says, it fits you, Gavaldi. Just keep it as good. It's fine. This guy with his old schmata Shtreimel left it on the bus. Hashem gave him a brand new, expensive, gorgeous Shtreimel. He gave it to him. That's the end of the story. Now, see, your man just told me the story a few hours ago. He was here with his Shtreimel. Now, it's fascinating. It's a cute story, but there's a moral of the story. The moral of the story is the mid-crisis, we get very, very hurt, upset, abandoned, and now mid could be 20 years in. That is l'maisa de emes. That is the emes, because the emes is that is a journey. We're here for a journey. Life is not a bunch of little cute stories. There's a tafkid in life where a person is supposed to reach, and Hashem takes the person through the journey. Now, I'm just reminding myself. In Schweiz, in Davos, they have the open train. Gorgeous. It takes you like a half an hour through the mountains and the waterfalls, and it's not normal. The scenery, mamish, not normal. The scenery that you watch, it's open. I mean, there's no roof. Part of it is going through mid mountains. That means it's dark, and it says before you go into the mountain how many. That means that it's 900 meters, how much you're going to be going through. But afterwards, once again, it's gorgeous. There's a mahalach, there's a journey that you're taking. You're going and going and going. In the middle it's raining, and in the middle it's dark, and in the middle it's gorgeous, but you're going on a journey. Now, that mahalach, for the people that have bitachon, for those people that have bitachon, they are open, they're exposed to what's happening. That's the schar. They are slowly, because they're so close to Hashem, they're getting exposed to what's happening to them, to the journey that's happening, and they watch themselves grow. They watch themselves reach heights, and they see that this had a very, very strong tachos what I'm going through. Wow, there's no musik that a person doesn't know why they're going through what they're going through if they have bitachon. That's not possible. Never possible. They watch themselves steig. They watch themselves reaching where they're supposed to be reaching. They're watching themselves slowly having so many feedbacks from above, showing them that they reach the next tachana, the next station in their steiging. They watch what's happening. While the tzora is mid, they don't know. They know that something is happening to themselves. They're going through a washing machine, but they feel that something is happening to them. They don't exactly know exactly what, exactly when. The issues that people have is when they're upset at the journey at all. That means they're saying, stop, don't take me there. Well, that's the hepech hagomar from trusting. Let Hashem take you on the ride. It's going to be a bit scary. It's bumpy on the way, but as long as you don't fight the ride, you're going to be experiencing what's happening. The more a person has bitachon, the more they're watching day to day what's happening to themselves. They still don't know what's going to be next year. They have no idea where, but they're watching, wow, this taught me that lesson. The next situation that Hashem is taking me, and I'm just holding on to Hashem to take me wherever it is. And Hashem is keeping on taking me to the next level. And in the middle, they're watching how they're getting from level to level, and they're seeing all types of toiv that Hashem is bringing to them. But they're understanding that they're in the middle of a journey. That's the Nakuda. The person observing looks at a tzaddik and says, if I would be that tzaddik, I would tell Hashem, no, I'm not masking to that. And then they're sure that the tzaddik Mistama also said that, and Hashem said no. And there was a big fight, and he lost. The tzaddik ended up losing. That's the person that's observing. He's watching, he says, the guy davened, and he davened, he must be devastated. That's it. He must be devastated. Well, you're saying that because you say that you would never be masking to go on the journey. The guy has to be on the journey if he has bitachon. If he doesn't have bitachon, then anachap, you question. But if that guy has bitachon, then the person is enjoying the ride. Why are you complaining? And it doesn't mean that it's so easy. The ride doesn't have to be that it's an easy ride. The person has a deep understanding that they're going through something right now. And I guess that they're happy to be on that journey. So, two parts to the answer. One part to the answer is it's the middle of the story. And a person gets to see the light in the end of the tunnel. The light in the end of the tunnel, we can't fathom it. Like we keep on saying about the shurim. You can't understand it or draw it or bring, because the same, the Yidden, when they were there, they couldn't understand it's going to be even a hapeichu. You couldn't understand that. It's not possible. But another part of it is that even when it's in the middle of the story, they're not suffering. They're having hardships, they're having nisyonis, but they're not in such deep emotional pain because they are masking to be on the journey. They're not fighting the etzem etzias that they are on that journey, and they're not going through the pain that you think they're going through. And the Megillah teaches us that. Now we're going back to that loidia. That means the Yidden look at the whole story, look at the end of stories, understand where you're in the middle. If you're going through Vayish Shushan Avoicha, then look what happens to the end. Understand that to every tsar that's happening, it's a journey bringing them to even better. It means they would never be able to ask Achashverosh to kill the Yidden, to kill all the goyim of all around, that they were, if they wouldn't be in such a matziv. V'nahapeichu comes from being in that situation. If you're in trouble, it means right there, if you turn that over, there isn't such a musik that a person just gets away from the tzara. If you turn over the tzara, you just hire. There's never yotzem and aklal. And what's interesting is a bit deep, but the Yidden did tshuva me'ahava. They were makabel the Torah be'ahava. They ended the Megillas kimu v'kiblu. We know the Gemara says that tshuva me'ahava turns the issues into mitzvahs. What's the idea of it? That in the end, because of the Averis, a person felt so desperate, so that caused the person to actually shoot up in their Averis Hashem. So the Megillah is teaching us that idea, because the Megillah tells us that they did tshuva me'ahava, and what happened? And everything turned around to be to their benefit.
That dark tunnel lasted for a year. It was...
Yeah, that's why a person needs so much patience. It's a person sees their life. They have to understand. Okay, now we started that. I really think that in a certain sense, COVID taught people to have patience. It's not over. It's still not over, and it's still not over. We serve Hashem. We try our best, but okay, yalla. In a week it's done. No, it's not done. It's not done. There's a certain musik, a person says, no, you're in for life, it's a journey of life, so slowly. So that brings a gewaldige simcha to a person. And that's what the Megillah teaches us, l'idiyah, we should know, lo yikom l'netzach kol ha-chosim bach. Afrei lechem purim.